Hello and welcome to episode 51 of the Card Show. And it is an honor and a privilege to announce a special guest today. It is none other than Aaron from the Green Club. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me, sir.
I thought I should give you like a massive it's the one and only, the man from Chef that lives in Manchester, an adopted Manc, the number one grader. I was like, "Do you know what? Just be humble. Let him tell his story, and at the end, people can go, God, that guy's great." So we're starting off humble, and then we'll
Yeah,
then we'll it's a crescendo. It'll just build you up throughout the whole show. It'll be.
sweet. Sounds good
But
to
no, man.
me.
Yeah, absolutely honest everyone. I think a lot of people probably I won't say have sort of a debt to you, but we'll definitely want to thank you because I think a lot of people got into you and probably more into the hobby through your Instagram lives and a lot of the knowledge that you spread, especially with your breaks on YouTube. So I think a lot of people probably got into hobby and the knowledge you give to them people kept them in the hobby. So I think people, a lot of people like myself as well, Instagram lives. We probably owe you a bit of a thank you. So on behalf of them people, thank you for everything you've done for the hobby so far and continue to do.
Now, look, like I said, this is something that I'm always going to say. I love to do it, and it's cliche or whatever you want to say. But like, if you love to do it, it's no work at all. Don't get me wrong, it's hard work in it. But especially with the Instagram lives, especially with the Instagram lives that I used to do, just the conversations that I used to have, like it was just purely enjoyment. I was just speaking off before camera, just like saying that I just love the how welcoming this hobby can be, and I think I'm always going to champion the UK in whatever we do, but I'm definitely going to champion the hobby in the UK as well. UK, England. But
Good.
I felt that there's just one thing that we do need more is more of that education, depending on regardless of whatever aspect of the hobby is. And if I was able to help in a little bit, in a small way, then I'm grateful that I was given the opportunity to do that and able to have a small platform to talk about things that I actually just love to talk about and I'm inquisitive of and want to know more about. So was I able to do anything for anyone to get more knowledge in the hobby? Then I just thank the people for watching.
Oh, yeah, I think it was a great, like I said, use that platform. It was a great way for other people not to get into it, but also get knowledge. And again, it helped me when I was coming back and sort of getting more involved. And then you still have people in there asking questions, and it's like, okay. And then even if you didn't know the answer, someone in there might have. And it was just like, it's one of the things where not everyone, no one knows everything, but everyone knows something. So it was like each one teach one. I was just finding, yeah, they were really good, especially at that time during, back end of COVID as well, when people had a lot more time. So it was good to see people sort of level up their knowledge, and it's something that we obviously this hobby, this industry, I like to say that we all love because it's something that we want to spend a lot of time in, and we love spending our time, money, and effort into it. So it's good to have someone like yourself who's willing to spend their own time, effort, giving us information and helping us, and gives us a platform to communicate with each other as well, which is always great.
Yeah, and I love doing it more. Like I'm definitely one thing that I want to try and do is just have more of those conversations, whether it be on Instagram, whether it just be private or whatever. But again, going back to how this hobby has accelerated over the last 5 years, the times that I really personally really enjoyed it, not professionally, but personally really enjoyed it, was the conversations, and just to have those more, and just to connect with other like-minded people on things that we share a passion for. Like, I don't think there's anything more powerful, really. So, like, to be able just to do that on a personal front, I'd like to do that more, because yes, I came into, or I've got a company in the hobby, but like I also just love the hobby. I also just love trading cards. So to be able to do that and meet with more like-minded people, then that's something that I definitely want to do more of.
So it's always good to hear when you've got businesses in the hobby that are actually involved in the hobby. I think we're seeing it a lot with, I'm gonna say we see it with Tops at the moment. I think there's a lot of people that aren't really in the hobby that have a job in the hobby, and you can see sort of the products coming out or the QC, and it's just like these are just people that have got a job, aren't they? They don't really care about the hobby that much. It's not in the hobby. They don't care about us people that are collecting it and investing in it. The designs are poor, or the lack of autos from certain stuff, and it's just like, oh come on, it's so bad. But it's good to know that again yourself, who has a a business in it. You're someone who's in the hobby as well as having a business in the hobby. It's always good for the hobby, I think, especially like I said, the UK hobby.
Yeah, and I think that there's such a people in the hobby are very opinionated in what they want and what they like. And when you do come to I did a poll a couple of days ago on what do people prefer, Topps products or Panini products, and I was actually quite surprised with how many people voted Panini over Topps. Not based on that. I think Panini is better than Topps, but based on the amount of products that Topps come out with, and the amount of new people that do like some of the newer stuff. I thought Topps would have won, maybe not comfortably, but I thought Topps would have won. But inevitably, the cream will always rise to the top. So if Topps, for instance, like there was a certain Topps that I don't like Topps Pristine. I just don't. I just didn't think worked on many levels. And if they continue to produce things like that, people will, not buy into it as much. But they're trying to, with Fanatics, they're trying to do a lot. They're trying to improve, and I know from conversations that I've had, they are trying to do better on certain things. But like you said, they need those people who are in the hobby making these decisions, not just people who are just doing it for the job. They need people who are passionate, because this is, even if they're looking to 10x the hobby, it's still a niche thing. The hobby is still very niche. So that means that people are really passionate about, and like I said, opinionated on those matters. This specific card, I had, I think it was Pristine. It was either Pristine or it was another top set, and there was a pack of 4 cards, and each of the 4 cards were different sizes in the same pack. And it was different. It was
No.
cut different levels, and I was like, it's things like that that is a collector. That's really annoying. Like, just
Yeah.
you can make him so they're all the same size, and you've done it with other sets. So, and I can't remember what set it was now. It was a new set that came out. It was just it was just one of like the curated sets or something like that, and just
Okay.
little things that just that annoy me, and I'm sure annoy other people. But if they
Oh
can
yeah.
get those little things right, like they could absolutely smash it.
Oh yeah. Definitely. I think that's the big thing in it. Where I think we all thought that Fanatics come in, new money, new ideas, and they've got all these licenses. It's going to be great to have NFL Chroma back and all this sort of stuff. And now we're looking at it and they're producing mock-ups of unlicensed stuff for basketball, and it's like all these influencers that have been saying, oh, don't buy unlicensed stuff. Now look at them all the tops. Oh yeah, get the unlicensed stuff. It's like, come on, man, come on,
Yeah,
don't do this to
yeah, yeah,
us. Don't do this to us.
yeah. And I think but again, it's not, the hobby's not difficult. Like, it's you need to put the collector at the heart of it. Well, the collector always has to be at the heart of it. Don't create for the masses. Create for the collectors, because the collectors are the ones that, regardless of whether it's Topps, Panini, they're going to be here anyway. So if you create for them, who are usually the end consumer, the buyer at the end, who will pay that top price for the card, you aim for them, you're always going to be successful. But you try and aim to please and appease everyone, you're gonna run into trouble, because the people who really care about it are just gonna be like, oh, this is not, it's not worth it. Or we get another junk wax error. Too much product and not enough demand for it.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. But that's, I mean, I'm sure people would know your sort of story, and it's an interesting one because I don't think it's possibly a way that a few people got into it. But I don't think it's probably the masses got into it. It seems to be a lot more stories of people buying sort of Panini stickers and then sort of disappearing and COVID hit. But tell people how you got into the hobby. I always find it quite interesting.
So for me, it was like 2019, and it was Gary Vaynerchuk. Um, Gary Vaynerchuk video, Gary V video. It was, and I think he bought some Mbappe's, and it was like just totally botching talking about football. And I was like, what is this? And but funnily enough, I was doing like some research into trading cards, because I never had heard of these types of trading cards before. And I ended up not buying football cards. I ended up buying basketball cards first. Bought like, I don't know, just randomly started buying off eBay, overpaying for stuff, and then I think it was the year. I think COVID year is when The Last Dance came out. I think.
Yeah, so
I think
2020, beginning of 2020.
Yeah, I think it was when that came out, and then I had like a Scottie Pippen like rookie card. Like I didn't know that was, I just ended up having the Scottie Pippen rookie card, and then I ended up selling that for I can't remember now, but I ended up selling that for more than what I bought it for. And then I was like, oh my god, this is amazing! Like what is this? And then from there, all the other cards I didn't make any money from. But then I kind of had the idea of, okay, well, I don't know about basketball. That's why I've lost. But I know about football. Is there anything to do with, is any football, is any soccer cards or whatever? And then I think the first set I bought was a World Cup 2018 Panini Prism box. And I think ended up buying from Cherry Collectibles in Australia. Again, I don't. This is also random. Like I've ended up buying from Cherry Collectibles in Australia, getting the cards over, and again, that's when I got hooked, and that's when I thought, okay, well, I've got the knowledge of football. Like, how can I combine it to get more knowledgeable about the hobby? So then I created Investing in Soccer group at the time, and then the idea was just to get like-minded people. Well, the idea was to get people from the UK who understood football, who had an interest in the hobby, and combine it with people, the Americans who I was speaking to, who were like, what's football? Who do we get? Who are the rookies? Stuff like that. And I was like, okay, there's a connection here. There's some cohesion that can be had. So then I created Investing in Soccer. That was the purpose, to try and unite the Americans to to learn about football, and the UK guys to learn about the hobby. And then it's just snowballed from there, really.
It's a crazy story. It's interesting because not many people get into hobby and then go, okay, let's start a group with other like-minded people. And they sort of go solo and try and pick pieces of information. So we've talked about off camera, like the length you go, and it's on for your platform. It's very interesting. I always say this, if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. And it just goes to show that you're obviously in this hobby, for the right reasons, and you want to go in it for forever. You're not just in it for a quick buck. You're always trying to get people involved and uplift people, which is always great to hear.
Yeah, and like I said, there's for me, whatever I do, I always say these two things can be true. Like, I absolutely want this to be a sustainable thing in the UK, the hobby to be a sustainable thing in the UK, because selfishly, then I know if this becomes really big in the UK, that my business will grow. So if I can help, but to do that, I need to help promote and grow that UK hobby first and foremost, and then everything comes after that. So two things can be true. Like, I absolutely want all the best for everyone and the collectors and stuff like that. And I also want to make money as well. Like, so that's why I would say two things can be true. But my passion is, well, now and has been for the last 4 years, is the hobby. So to make that enjoyable, I want other people to enjoy it as well and see the fruits of the labor from what they've created, from what they're trying to achieve, and again, try to educate the people who are coming into the hobby. And then hopefully the byproduct of that is then that my business does well as well. But I think that's where there's probably a change in mentality from, not everyone, people come in first, or people aim to make as much as they can because they've seen someone else make money in the hobby, and then become disillusioned when they don't make as much as what they thought. They've made a loss, so then they leave the hobby. So it's like it's all about the mentality you come in with on how successful you're gonna be. You're gonna be in this hobby. Like, if you just come in and you just want to enjoy, like, you're always gonna have a good time because you're not bothered about that bottom line. But if you're solely focused on, I need to make money, I've got to make money, I've got to do, then there's going to be a time when you don't make money that is just not going to be enjoyable for you. A lot of the hobbies, it's about the chase. All aspects of the hobby is about the chase. Finishing that set, finding that grail card, whether it's taking you 6 months, whether it's taking you 10 years to do so, it's about the chase. That's what we love, is that chase.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100% is the chase. So the worst thing is though, the chase is always better than the finish. Honestly, every time you finish that, you're just like, okay. Now what? It's like the
Facts.
chase. Every day you're energized. Every day you're on that hunt. It's yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy.
But it's the same as it's the same as them. It's like
Oh yeah.
wanna. I'm a man for. I love my quote. So like, the journey is always better than the destination. It's always the fact. Like again, preparing to go on holiday, being the first day of holiday is great, and then when it's ended or you're there, it's like you're now waiting for it just to end because you're there. I love thinking, oh my god, can't wait till I go on my next holiday, or I can't wait to I get to do this thing, play a video game, and then you completed it, and then it's over. You don't get that back again. So the
Yeah.
journey is always better than the destination in my part. So I love the chase, and then like, but it's saying that I did get a Grail it's over a month now, and now that's just gonna sit in my collection for forever and ever and ever and ever.
Well, it's the point of getting Grails, isn't it? It's complete that journey, and it's the fact you can open up your case every time you want and just see it is like
Yeah.
the best part of it, right? It's the best part. So you sort of touched on then your business, like you've got starting a hobby, you started a group, you invested in soccer group, and you started bridging sort of the US to the UK. What part of that then made you think, okay, I'm gonna start a business in hobby, I'm gonna sort of quit my job and go into this?
Well, this was like 2021 or 2020. No, it must be 2021. 2021. This is when I was still doing investing in soccer. So at that point, it was I was a breaker at that point. Heavily in the scene, completely different to how it is now. People are absolutely smashing it now, compared to the shitty camera setup that I had and the one product rather than doing a case of products. So it was completely different. But from the back of that, it was like June 2021, and all I was thinking about was breaking. All I was thinking about is, all right, okay, buying products, selling brake spots while doing my full time job. And I was just like, ah, I, I've got to. There's that moment where it's like, if I don't do it now, I'll never do it. And I said at the time that like I'll leave the job because I can always come back to it. It was decent enough that um, I knew that if I left for 6 months, I could come back 6 months later and go back into the role I had. So I was like, okay, let me give it 6 months. So in that time, and the one thing about the hobby is it's never had a sustained period of just normal. Like it changes every month. Like there's so many things that happen within the hobby. It's insane. So within that 6 months, uh, people started to ask about breaking. So like again, the journey of people coming into it is like, let me get into all these breaks, let me amass all these cards, and it's then what? And then at that time we all were kind of learning together. So I started learning about grading myself. Oh, this is something interesting. Seeing who was doing it at the time, it was Graded Gem, and um, I remember I I actually remember reaching out to him and just saying, "Oh, I've got a breaker group." Like, I mean, they had no reason to kind of entertain me at all, but uh, my mindset was different. So, like, I had a breaker group, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing all these breaks. Like, it'd be cool if I was just able to, send you cards, you grade it. Got all these guys want to grade cards. Can we work something out?" And then we just like flat out like, no. And I was like, "All right, screw you guys. I'm going to do it myself." So then at that time, or a few months after that, that's when like PSA had like a 12 month a 12 million card backlog, and then everything just in that space shut down. Like obviously I'm thankful now that that didn't happen to me, but like that would have stopped so many people and so much revenue at the time. Like, I'm guessing the would have affected the people who were doing, the middleman in at the time. So then a few months later, because I think, like I said, I don't know the full story, but I think Graded Gem and now Ace Grading. So they shut that down, or they might be different people, I don't know. But then
I thought
Graded
they
Gem
were.
shut down. So I think they are, but like I said, I'm not.
Yeah.
My facts could be off. So they started Ace Grading. So then it left this space, and I was just like, okay. I was at that time again. It was about 8 months after I left my job. I was like, all right, this is picking up more traction. then people were more interested, and I really enjoyed the space of grading rather than I did breaking. So then I was like, okay, let me see what this like. What if I pivoted to grading? Didn't really have a much of a plan. It was just like, okay, I actually enjoy doing this. I enjoy looking at the cards. It was a slower pace, didn't have to deal with checklists and buying product and being undercut and checking other people's prices and doing all this, that, and the other. It was a nice pace. So then I did that for a couple of months. And I think this is leading into, and I could be wrong on dates, I think this is then leading into the UK card show at the Tottenham Stadium
Yep.
from Luke. And that was my first show. I think it was I'm pretty sure that was my first show. And
No, surely not.
well, I'm trying to think. It might not. I can't remember what was before that, if I'm being honest.
So literally a couple weeks before that, you had the London card show as well. Literally a couple weeks
It
before
may
that.
be, depending on which London it was. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It may, I don't know. It may be
I'm
the
gonna
first
say
one I was
Tolworth.
with.
Tolworth 3. Yeah, I think it would have been Tolworth number 3. It would have been, I think.
See, I'd never been to Tolworth,
Okay. So wow.
and
No,
yeah, I'd
good
never
show.
been to Tolworth. So yeah, so then it was probably my first show. So and then I was set up as the grading club. Got to meet the legend Cyrus, which was cool because at that point, like that was really my only exposure to breaking. And a lot of people in the UK, there weren't many breakers around. There weren't many people to buy, where you could buy into breaks and buy into cases. Sorry. So to see him was really cool, and to see other people in the hobby was great. And then from the month after that, it just started to pick up really quickly. So then stopped breaking, and then it just went grading full time after that.
Oh. Did you ever think about opening like a grading company?
I get asked so many times. I get asked this so many
Okay.
times, and
Thought I had the original question. No, never mind.
yeah, it's basically it is like I said. So I get asked for it more from people, definitely more from people who aren't in the hobby. We'll say, well, why do you use PSA or CGC? Like, why don't you just do it yourself or like set up your own thing? And this is where I'll shout out Jake, because I think it is such a tough task that he's doing to for Jake at MGC.
Yeah.
Such a tough task because, again, as I mentioned earlier, people are really opinionated, and once they only see one, some people only see one thing, and it's difficult to then navigate in that space. And I think what he's doing is phenomenal. And also the other people get graded, and anyone else who's in the UK who's doing that grading service. But for me, it was like there was these people who were established and got that expertise and got that guarantee that I just thought there was no room for me at the time. Oh no, I don't think I'd ever do it, but there's no room for me to be able to do that, and I prefer to work with these companies who are more established rather than go the route of, because it's expensive as well. So
Yeah.
it's not just right. Okay, I can just set up a grading company. It's like the machinery itself is tens of thousands, if not more, to really start. So and that's an expensive risk to do. So it just wasn't the route for me. Like I said, I think there is opportunity for people to compete with PSA, SGC, CGC, Beckett, and all that, especially seeing the numbers from companies like Beckett. There is chance to do that, but I just thought in terms of the road to be able to get that done, it was just a little too long for me to be able to kind of be up there. So that's why I opted not to do that route.
Okay, I've got a two-part now because of this, because of your answer. So you said then about is room for companies to compete with PSA, CGC. Is it CGC now? CS, because it was CSG, now CGC, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Beckett. But this is my qualm, I suppose. Obviously, in the UK, we had digital grading. It was all digital, it was all sort of an AI system looking at it, and it would tell you if your card was pretty much flawless, better than the naked eye, essentially. Over in America, also got tagged or something similar. You'd think, you know, I'll say common sense. some sort of sense would say to get the best cards, you want the best sort of system of this card over someone like, there's always this problem is, someone at PSA could be disgruntled one day because they split their misses because they're just having a bad day, So they might give bad grades in their consistency. So okay, go the computer route. It's scanned. There's a scale. But they don't seem to take off. Tag's obviously nowhere near any of the other Americans. Digital grading not really hit the heights we thought it would do. Do you think that's the case of just people just don't really want accurate grading? People just don't. People just want a PSA 10 because it's going to be no money, as opposed to saying this is actually a gem mint card. They're happy to have a 10, even though you might get cracked and send it to someone else, and it could become like an 8 or a 9. Like, people just want a PSA 10 over everything. Like, it doesn't matter if it's an actual 10.
I think just human behavior. People don't like change. So to adopt something that's completely new, whether it be the right way to do something or not, it's so much harder to prove something that's not yet happened, right? So, and what I mean by that is like PSA, if I sell this card in a PSA 10, I'm going to get this theoretically, right? If it's a card that's sold 10, 20, 30 times, it's always going to be around that number. When I then get this tag or CGC, MGC, get graded, digital grading card, the volume, the price point that I'm getting is lower. So because of that, I'm always going to go with the higher value, the most trusted company, because that's what I'm used to. I'm used to getting full value for my cards. Where the other companies are, they've got to hit this trajectory where there's got to be a turning point for the consumer. Where if I'm Tag, for example, I have this best system, right? I've got this absolutely great system. I remember speaking to Tag, and I spoke to Tag a couple of months ago. I remember speaking to him in Las Vegas at a conference, and they showed me this data, and it was phenomenal. It was on how I think they sent 100 cards to Beckett, to PSA, to SGC, resent them in, and then did the same for Tag. And the inconsistencies, we all know when something's subjective, you're going to get different results. I can attest to it. Like seeing grades at different grading companies, people cracking and sending them in and getting different grades for the same card without any change is inconsistent. And with companies, again, allegedly, because I've not used these companies, I'm sure errors are still made. But again, that's another topic. If they were a flawless company, why are people still using PSA? Because of value. That's the be all and end all, and because of the look. I'd still buy a cola over a roller cola, even if the roller cola may be nicer or maybe less calories. Maybe not nice. Let's say less calories, right? Just because I'm used to that drink, I'm used to having that, right? So why would I spend my money to test out one of these new companies, knowing I'm not going to get the exact same value back? If that's the idea, right? If the idea is I want to make more money, I want to get more value from my card either now or in the future, what's the most likely scenario? I'm going to get a PSA who've been around for 20 odd years. In 20 years, are they still going to be about with what they've got going on? Likely. Is one of these other companies going to be about in 20 years? Who knows? So then that devalues that card, and I think that's what it all really comes down to. I actually really like the Tag slab. If we're sticking with Tag, I love the Tag slab. I love that it's clear. I love the reports that you get from it. But to change a whole mentality of the hobby, bearing in mind that a lot of the people who are in the hobby who do grade a lot are from several generations ago. In the UK, where it's different, there's been obviously people who've collected for decades, but the majority of people now in the hobby been around 4 or 5 years, whereas these other guys have been 20, 30, 40, 50 years in the game. They're not just going to change over to these new guys unless something dramatically changes, which I don't know what that catalyst will be. But for me, it's all about the value and also the reputation. That's one thing I should have mentioned. The reputation of these companies as well, sits well. Why do people like Topps and Panini? because other than the licenses, that's just the staple. Tops have been around since the 50s. Panini Italy, Panini stickers. These companies have that reputation of just producing these manufacturing these cards. So reputation and value, I think, is just what stands out for me, and also seeing that other companies have come and not stood the test of time.
Yeah. I suppose as well, it's like I said there about the products, it's also going to be sort of dependent, like I'm talking from a sports point of view, because I suppose when it's TCG, the grades are there, they don't care if it's PSA or not, they will grade with anyone, and the price is quite consistent no matter who it's graded with, whether it is Ace or whether it is PSA, where it's Beckett, etc. I suppose, like I said with sports, like hockey for instance, if you look at ice hockey, you don't really care about Tops and Panini, it's upper deck for you. You want these, you want the young guns, you want the exquisite. Same with obviously golf. That's going to change with the live contracts, but yeah, obviously baseball as well. Obviously, you don't want Panini because there's no licensing. So yeah, it's all going to change. I just think it's just very interesting to me that we have a system that can tell you that your car is literally flawless, or it's just either flawless, but people would rather go for that PSA, especially because it's such a collector-based hobby as well. I say it's a hobby, so it's collector-based. You would have thought collectors would want to know that they've got the best possible card, and that should have a higher value because the AI system says this is completely flawless. It's 100 out of 100 or 99 out of 100, whereas your card is a 10 today, whereas you crack it tomorrow and it's an 8.5 or something. So very interesting to spin out like that. Very interested. And the second question is hypothetical now, because I don't know anything. PSA come to UK as an office. Would you apply for a job as a grader?
No.
Since you wouldn't start your own business, you wouldn't go to grader. Okay.
No.
Why not? Elaborate, please.
Yeah, I mean, one, I love running my own business. So if I wasn't doing this, I'd do something else. Actually, that's just one and only. That's just the one and only answer. Like, one thing with working for someone that I've worked since I was 16, so I've worked 20 years for a number of companies.
Just stop you there. You're 60, so you started with 16, it's 20 years.
Yeah.
We don't believe in, do we? We don't believe him. There's no way you're 36. Look, he looks too good, eh? The whole black don't crack. You look like you're 25, my friend, eh? Gotta get the confidence in. Gotta get in.
I feel like I'm 56. No comment. And you see my performance the other week, that will show that I feel like I'm 66 as well.
We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that.
Well, the reason why I would not work for another company currently, anyway, like things could change, is like I'm just so at peace. No matter how hard it's been the last couple of years, I make those decisions, and I'm comfortable with the good and the bad decisions that I've made. And working for someone else, you just don't. I've always said, regardless of how good you can be at something, sometimes there's a ceiling or there's a limit that you can reach. And again, working for a number of companies that's not the route for me. So regardless of whether I was doing the grading club or something, and the grading club didn't work, I'd now just run my own business regardless of whatever it would be. But I'd thank PSA for the opportunity, but I would slightly decline.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Just obviously, I know that you know, especially the cards you must see. I assumed you to be some sort of like, I really enjoy it. The cards you get to see, the one of ones, that you never get to see, and to get the chance to work for someone like PSA where you're going to see hundreds of thousands of these cards. I thought you'd be thinking, possibly, yeah, but a flat out no. I am the grading club, and that is it. I live and die by the grading club. I like it. I love it.
But it's not even. I just like I said, I just love being able to. I don't like people telling me that I will need to be in the office for 9 o'clock, and I get to leave at 5, and for that pleasure, here you go. Like, I'd rather earn less, but it be on my own terms. And again, that's just from experience. It's not really much to do with the hobby as such. It's just personally, I just prefer to kind of have my own thing rather than work for another company.
So it could even turn into a freelance role where you come in whenever you want. Just if you want to come in 2 days a week to check some cards.
Then yeah, that'd be I'd do that for sure. Yeah,
we've got him. PSA, we've got him. That's what we've got to do. Freelance him, couple of days a week, give him the option. Got him. Job done. But no, I think this is probably going to be probably the most important part now is obviously the whole process from A to Z grading. Because I think, like I said, even though people maybe only been in the hobby for 5 years, still obviously people don't know how to grade, or people. I mean, we heard the other day that the top loaded podcast boys have only just started grading cards, and that's sort of crazy. Obviously, there's new people coming into the hobby. I think for a lot of people, the whole, I don't say misconception, but the whole issue is, I don't say PSA make it difficult, because I don't think they do make that difficult, but there's a lot of things they may not understand when it comes to sets, and the whole value of cards, because, how they consider value sort of thing. And then, like, how to send cards as well is another one. Like, they don't know about kind of card savers, or should it, if it's mag, do we cut open the mag and say stick around and then do this? It's like, so I think, to help people with that, who better else to ask than yourself, an expert in his field. So if you would kindly run through a simple process, and we can dissect as and when. So I have a brand new card that I've just picked out. I want to send this off. What are my first few steps?
Well, it's always, I try and get people to have a conversation with me, with Oliver, or if there's anyone else in the business, and what's the purpose? Because I think that actually points you in the right direction of where you want to go. Because the next question is like, usually is I want to grade, but I don't know. I've not had these steps before. I've never done this before, so I don't know who to go with. And then again, as we are speaking before, naturally, most people would have heard of PSA, so that's exactly what they go for. So I created something on the website on my website a few weeks ago, which is just like a questionnaire on what is it that you're actually looking to do with grading. Like, so a list of 10 questions. Are you bothered about selling the card? Are you wanting, is it just to protect the card? Are you wanting for aesthetics? Are you wanting to sell quickly? Are you wanting the card back quickly? Like, there's just a number of questions that I try and ask to understand what it is for the purpose of grading the card. Because not all cards need to be graded. It's the perception that all cards, might need to be graded because it has to have value, but that doesn't happen to every and all cards. So trying to just understand what it is they want to do with it, and then letting them know what the options are. That's kind of the first step, I would say. If someone comes to us and has no knowledge of grading, I always try and understand first why they want to grade.
Okay, so I want to grade this card. I was told it's going to have some value. I don't really know, so I just want to get it safely encapsulated, and then hopefully make a bit of money on it. Is anything special to do with the card? What's my next step? What's my next step there?
Yeah, so then what I would say is, let's say they've decided to go with PSA because I've mentioned it adds a little bit of value. You can encapsulate the card, you can get the card back within a certain time. Then it's okay, what is it that I need to do? And again, people work differently. So if people work differently, but the process is pretty much the same. So whether you went direct, whether you use a middleman like myself or someone else, is putting the details, well, choosing the right service first and foremost. What type of card is it? So let's say you've got an autograph card. Are you wanting to get the autograph graded? Again, that leads into other questions of, should I grade the autograph or not? But let's say that they want to grade the autograph. Then that's a dual service at PSA, so it costs a little bit more. Will take a little bit longer to get that graded. So I'm then talking through the services and prices for that. So it's picking the service. That's going to be the next option. You figured out you want to send it to PSA out of all the grading companies. The next step is to figure out the service that you want to send the card on, or how many of cards you want to send, and the different services that you might want to send it on. And then it's putting the details on the PSA website or the grading website, and then sending the card in. So if it was through me, what would happen is you'd go to the website, you'd put in the details of the cards, you'd make payment for the card, you then package the card safely. I always say just semi-rigid top loader will do. Bubble wrap, 2 pieces of cardboard, bubble mailer is enough. It doesn't maybe need to be that overprotective, but a lot of people, some of the packages that I get are absolutely insane with packaging. But as long as it doesn't move while in transit, usually all right. And I've never really had any problem with the way people package cards to me. Then once they come to me, or to any other middleman. It then just gets sorted, put onto the system, and then off and away it goes to PSA. And then depending again on who you use, what tracking system that they may have to keep you updated on the card. I don't know if I've skipped a few steps there, but that's generally it. You pick your grader, you pick your service, you give the details, or you send in the cards. It gets added to one of the grading systems, and then patiently waiting for that card to come back.
You said there about whatever company you use, there's a tracking system. So if I, even if I use yourself, I can still track that through a PSA app, or is it online, or how would they be able to track that through PSA?
So if you use a middleman, you wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to track it through PSA. Well, per se, like one thing that I've got now, or well, yeah, one thing that I've got now with some tiers is that it automatically, as soon as it changes at PSA, you'll get a notification for that. Not everyone has that. Some it'll just be a spreadsheet. Some people just update it manually or send you an email manually. So again, with a middleman, it can differ. If you go to PSA, you'll have your order number, you'll have your submission number, and it will give you the statuses as it changes from there. But if you use a middleman, you won't be able to log into PSA and view it in that way. But if a middleman's got a good enough system, it should be updated within a day or two of it changing status at PSA.
I think another one as well is when it goes obviously to America, then comes back. Will I be hit with the customs? What happens? Is there any customs to worry about?
Great question. If you so again, two parts. If you do it on your own, if you do it through a middleman, like I say, I always just try to explain how a middleman does it rather than you have to use the grading club, like because there's a few people who do the same thing and do it well as well, and it's a general service, and hopefully it's quite unified in the way people do something. So once it's being sent back from PSA or another grader, it's the middleman should assume all the costs. I know I would if there was any customs due. So the price you get at the beginning is the price that you will pay, nothing else. So you don't have to worry about anything else, no other customs, nothing like that. Can there be custom charges? They shouldn't be, really, because it's a temp export. Cards are coming back into the country. There's a few stipulations around that, but for me, no. There shouldn't be anything extra. So if you do it yourself, again, they're your cards. They're not for sale. They're not for resale. So once they're back in the country, you shouldn't have to pay that. You just need to prove. You just need to show the documents that they were exported out. So no, but I've seen quite a few people get stung because they've either not provided, they've not sent it out in the correct way, or they've not addressed it correctly when they've come back. So again, positives and negatives to doing it yourself or using a middleman. That's one of the benefits, I suppose, of using a middleman, that you shouldn't accrue any additional costs from it being re-imported back into the country.
Yeah, it's always good to know. I think the other thing as well is with the it's not the so much the tiers. I suppose the tiers is one to touch on as well. Obviously, with PSA have such different tiers, but also the I forgot where I was going with that one now. So let's talk about tiers. Let's talk about the tiers for a second. I think what I was going to say. So yeah, there is different tiers of PSA, which obviously you don't get at many other grading companies. Do you think that's a good thing for the hobby? Do you think that's more confusing for people to get into it, or do you think it's just something we have to just suck up and take?
Definitely more confusing. I suppose that all graders have multiple tiers. CGC have quite a few tiers as well, and quite a few options. But with the other companies, because it's mainly about, through me anyway, just from my experience, it's mainly about the bulk options. So people use the bulk options for SGC, CGC, Beckett. With PSA, because they're more because two things actually. So actually, let me roll back a little bit. So with the authentication side of things, for example, CGC don't authenticate autographs. SGC SGC don't authenticate autographs. They will only do it if it was printed, if it was licensed by Panini or Topps, and it states it on the back. CGC didn't, but now they've just acquired JSA, so that's, I'm sure they'll bring that service coming in. But for the longest part, it was only PSA. And Beckett do autograph authentication as well. So that was a separate arm to PSA. So that's PSA DNA that do this authentication side. So a lot of people then grade their autographs through there, on-card autos, photos, things of that nature. So the also graded tickets. They also grade, now they grade Funko Pop. So yes, there are a lot of options for it. I'd say 70-80% of people do only use either the bulk service or a faster service, a Value Plus or a regular. And then you get the odd people who are then doing the autograph authentication, doing the Funko Pops, doing the tickets, doing packs as well. But so as long as they present it in a nice enough, beautiful, web page, they are easy to do. It's just that there's a lot of options, and if you are new to it, it can be overwhelming. But like I said, 90% of people, 80% of people, sorry, will use that bulk option.
Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. You obviously touched on tickets there as well. I think that's sort of an interesting one, because with tickets, obviously you can sort of put a certain thing, whether it be someone's first hat trick, etc. Is there like how do they sort of prove that, if that makes sense? Like, how can they say, oh, this is his first, like his debut ticket? Maybe like a lower tier thing. Is there a way to prove that to make sure it gets put on to the slab or not?
Yeah. So with all the companies really, but like with PSA, there's a research and ID department. I believe last year they brought someone in specifically for tickets. I think it's from the UK as well. Who's one of the ticket
Fab.
guys.
Yeah, Fab, I believe.
Yeah.
Fab, ticket slabs. Yeah, good guy.
So he came. I think he came in. I don't know what his specific role was. If he oversaw the department, if he looked at every ticket. But one of the roles with that is that he would help with the research and ID of the tickets and identification of them. So, however that process works with PSA, they do have certain things. So, like if I was to put in Cristiano Ronaldo's first game, it would come. I wouldn't be able to change that to something else. That's how it'd appear on the slab. Again, it becomes difficult if it was, Emuel Heskey's 36th goal. You're probably able to custom that tab, because again, all right, yeah, you probably are right, But so there's some leeway sometimes. But if it's in the system as something, then it's likely you won't be able to change that. Again, I don't know that for certain because I've not really tried it, but that's one of the things that with PSA, which is good, is that they do have this research. Well, and with all the other companies, they do have a research and ID department, so they will, nail it pretty much all the time. Maybe 8 out of 10.
Yeah, and is there like a box on your website when you're filling out a form for tickets to sort of put what you'd want, well, what idea you think it is? Is that easy for the people to process, or?
Yeah, so with tickets, because my website's only new, it's only really made for cards at the moment, not tickets.
Okay.
But it's something that I will expand to, where you would put the word in how you would see fit for it to be, and then I would use that word in. Like, I wouldn't then go away and do the research unless you ask the question. I'm struggling to see what this is, whether it was his first goal, whether it's second goal, whatever it may be, and try and help in that way. But I would then take that word and whatever and trusted you with what you say, put it on the PSA website, and then if an option comes up for whatever that may be, we'll click that one. If not, you can add manually to PSA as well. So we'd then put whatever if there was nothing that closely matched whatever that wording is, we then add that manually, and then again it would go to the research and ID department, and sometimes it gets changed to what they might have in the system, or it might not, and then they accept your wording.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but for instance, I put in it's Haaland's first City goals, and then they come back and say actually it's his second because he scored in a friendly. did they sort of let you know prior, or did they just put down it's his second and send you back to you, and that's it, he's dealt with
Yeah,
it?
they put that they put what they think it is,
Ah,
and then it
okay.
just gets sent back. But so with that R&D stage, R&ID stage, there's then an error reporting stage. So if you think it's wrong, what they've done, you can then challenge it at that point, and then you can have a conversation with
Okay.
them.
That's good to know. That's good to know. Well, again, I think that's probably helps a lot of people there with the whole grading side. So I think a lot of people were sort of, I won't say confused, but just weren't sure. Probably was the best thing. I think it's very simple. I mean, I'll put a link into the website, but again, you go on the onto the Green Club website, and it'll have an easy run for you there. You just talked about all the potential drop down boxes and issues. And I always say, I mean, I don't want to open up your DMs here, but if you just message the Grading Club, I'm sure Aaron will get back to you in swift time and answer any questions you've got. So feel free to do that. I've just opened up his
Yeah.
DMs for him. It's fine. I've made you a bit busy right now, but yeah.
I don't deal with DMs anymore, so it's fine. That's
Yeah,
his job, so he can do that. But again, that's part of what I've reason why I've been quiet for the last few months is trying to improve as many processes as I can. One being definitely communication, and it's been tough because you've got to when you see where you've gone wrong, to put it back, you've got to unwrap a lot of layers. And it takes a long time while still trying to move forward at the same time, which I found really, really difficult. I'm not going to lie. In the last, 3 to 5 months, found really difficult to kind of said, right, let's stop doing this. Let's try something else, but then also still appease the customers that you still have who still want to send your card and you're still providing a service. Now, ideally, I would have just shut down for like 4 months, but it's just something that I couldn't do. So one of the things was the communication side where I'm trying to get better. It's still not there yet, still definitely not there yet, but I'd say 80% of the way of getting a really good process in place. I hired Oliver, who's been great, and that's one of his roles is to man the mailboxes and make sure we are trying to respond to people as quickly as possible.
it's obviously good to hear about because I think a lot of companies as well sort of rest on their laurels, and it's good to hear that you've sort of evaluated things, changed things, and slow progress is better than no progress. And I'm sure the future will be a lot easier for people. And I'm sure I've talked about it before, things with least friction, always sort of win. So it looks like you're providing ways for least friction for people, and obviously you're noticing things wrong in the business and things you want to change the business to make it such an easy process for people, and even hiring someone to get in touch with, do that sort of thing. So I'm sure it'll pay off in the long run. I'm sure the 4 or 5 months of stress you just had will hopefully lead to a lifetime full of happiness and less stress.
Yeah, hopefully. And again, the beauty is always in the learn, right? Like I love more than anything, more than the hobby. I love to just learn and try to uh, be better. And sometimes you just gotta hold your hands up, say you've messed up, and regardless of how long that's taken to get to the answer, you then pivot, you then try something new. And I think again, mentioned prior to starting this is that the hobby has not stopped evolving or changing for the last 5 years. So you've got that element of it constantly being different year on year, whilst also myself learning how to run a business, myself learning how to scale a business. And there's a massive gap between having a business and being able to scale it to thousands of people. Like there's no question it's the hardest thing that I've ever done. So trying to do that, trying to learn how to properly run a business, and then also navigate an ever changing space is really hard. So.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's been some major positives and there's been some big negatives and a lot of mistakes that have been made that I'm still unwinding and I'm still trying to get through. But again, I love the fact that I'm able to, learn, adapt and grow and just carry on moving. And there's been people who've been absolutely amazing for me and kept me going. And, like I said, the best thing is the community of the hobby, the sports cards, trading cards, whatever you like to call it. So yeah. It's the future's bright for sure.
That's good to hear. It's good to hear. Let's lighten the mood. Let's talk about your favorite set. What is your favorite set of all time? You can only collect one. Yeah, you can only collect one set the rest of your life. What set is that?
That's a tough one.
I
That's a
thought it was
tough
meant to
one. I
be.
probably, if I could only collect one set, I think it would be. I think it'd be 2019 Chronicles.
Ooh,
I think it'd be 2019 Chronicles. Yeah, I think there's
okay.
just there was so much variety. I love the cracked ice rookie tickets. I think they're amazing. You have the historic tickets, Ronaldo, Messi, um, Prism updates. You got they just yeah, there was just a lot of cards in there that I just really enjoyed that set. I've always loved 2019 Chronicles. Now don't get me wrong, 20 I think the best set is
Yeah.
2017 Tops Chrome. I think that's the
Okay.
best set. Um, but the set if I could only open one, it would be 2019 Panini Chronicles.
Okay. Interesting. 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 What is your? If you can only have one chocolate bar for the rest of your life, what's that chocolate bar?
You see, I love a salted Galaxy salted caramel, but I don't know if I'd have that for the rest of my life. Do you know what? It might Maltesers, I
I
think.
think Maltesers. Okay.
That you throw me. Oh, you throw me off there. I didn't expect that question.
Gotta think about
Do
something.
you know,
Consistently have it and not get sick of it.
I'm gonna have to go basic. Oh, fucking hell, I didn't want to do it. I like Dairy Milk. I'll go Dairy Milk.
Yeah, it's gone
I don't
basic,
want to go
boys. It's
Dairy
gone basic.
Milk. I don't want to. What? I don't like going basic. No, but I'll say Dairy Milk. Dairy Milk. Cadbury's Dairy Milk.
Uh, okay, and then is one type of crisp. I don't want to say packet because obviously Pringles aren't really packets. So one type of crisp for the rest of your life. What crisp you choosing?
What crisp am I choosing? See, I love I do love kettle salt and vinegar, but there's a crisp that I had recently. Burt's I forgot it's either beef or barbecue. They were selling them in Tesco's. Amazing. They are fantastic crisp. So I'll probably go for now, I'll go with Burt's. Burt's beef crisp. Yeah.
Okay, so check out Burt's. I've never heard of it, so you guys out there go and check that out. It might, if it's bad, make sure you message the Green Club in there. Listen, suck over there. And then one drink for the rest of your life. What's that drink? Alcoholic, non-alcoholic. I'm not a judge. What would you go for?
One drink for the rest of my life. One drink for the rest of my life. Again, that's so tough. I will go with. I will go with. I don't know. Vimto.
So,
Vimto. Yeah. Cordial. Yeah. Vimto. I'll go with Vimto.
all right
We've
now, all
always
right
got.
now.
We've always got a bottle of. We've always got a bottle of Vimto in.
Same 2 litre bottle of Vimto in the cupboard.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd have to go with that because I'd be happy with that. Like I wouldn't begrudge that if that was the only drink that I could have. So yeah, I'll go with Vimto.
All right. And last one food base is your death row meal. What is your last meal? What is your death row meal?
Um,
This can be anything.
Steak.
You got a nice starter. So no starters. No, you have starters. You
Oh,
have
if I
yeah. You
get
can't.
started,
This is your last meal, my friend. You can't treat yourself. You know what I mean? So that's what
all
I'm
right.
getting.
Then I'd start with garlic prawns, like some garlic and chili prawns in like in like in a butter, just soaking in a butter. Yeah, garlic prawns. Dinner main, I would have uh I'd have steak, mashed potato,
How you having your steak?
sweet corn, medium rare for sure. It's the only way it was medium rare. Too rare-ish. Like anything more than medium rare is you should absolutely not do. So medium rare is for me. Mashed potato, sweet corn, uh, and that will do me. That's probably my favorite meal. And then dessert. what do you call those? Oh, what do you call those? The chocolate cake with the chocolate in the middle. I thought.
Chocolate cake, chocolate in the middle.
Um,
Chocolate gatto.
it's like in like I forgot. It'll come to
Well,
me.
like chocolate,
Anyway,
chocolate gatto. What, chocolate gatto
no, no,
or
no, no.
profiteroles?
It's like
Chocolate cake.
no, 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 no. It's like a chocolate, just a chocolate pudding with melted chocolate
Okay.
in the middle. The name for it,
Oh,
I
like
just can't.
yes, I was gonna say goo melt plus. It's not goo. It's like a sponge. I think didn't Cadbury's do one? What is a Cadbury's dairy one?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
you could, oh, yeah, and the goo comes out of it. Yeah, yeah, little hot pot
yeah.
things. You can.
Yes,
Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah,
I know.
yeah.
Okay.
So that I
Yeah, yeah,
can't
yeah.
that and cold custard.
Cold custard.
Always love cold custard.
Christ. And
I
what are you
could
washing
just
this
have cold
down with?
custard. Huh?
Yeah, because obviously I'm sure. Yeah, what are you washing it down with? What drink you having? You must have a nice. Surely you're going for a white for starter, maybe a red for the sake. What drink are you drinking? What you washing it down with?
Apple cider, classic.
All the way through, yeah, all the way through, just apple
All the
cider,
way
yeah.
through. That'll do.
Oof.
Apple cider.
And then
Apple cider
and
the
there's me
main.
thinking you're gonna go for a nice white and a red. A red for the
Nah, nah,
steak,
nah.
you know.
I would do a red for the steak though. I suppose. Yeah, a
Nice
nice red
Merlot,
for
nice
the steak.
Malbec. Yeah,
Yeah,
Argentinian, Chilean, you know, one of those.
yeah. I suppose I do. I'd probably do a red for the steak. Yeah.
Yeah. Not a nice white with a fish, no. Listen, not everyone can be
Nah,
as
no,
cultured over here.
I'm no white wine fan. No, no.
Apple ciders. Hey, to be fair,
Yeah.
Aspel's in the summer. Aspel in the summer is a drink. I tell you, it's a drink and a half.
Oh man, I love it. Yeah, I love it.
Serious.
That's my that would be my go-to drink, but it's just that I don't really drink alcohol that much, so like I couldn't have it all. Although I would have chosen it as the drink I would have had all the time, but like I just don't. I very rarely drink alcohol. Like maybe I don't even know if once a week, so maybe once every 2 weeks, I might drink some sort of alcoholic drink beverage. So yeah, but yeah, for my last meal, I would have it for sure.
Nice, nice, nice. Who is winning the Euros?
England, of
That's the
course.
big question.
There's no
Believe that,
other
yeah?
option.
Okay.
There's no other option.
You
Of course,
have.
it's England. It's coming home. Of course, it's going to be England.
It's coming home. Uh, okay. What's your starting 11?
Um,
What team are bringing
the
it
sort
home?
of level that I would want is,
Yeah.
I think you've got to go with. I think you got to go with Pickford, even though I don't really like. I think you've got to go with Pickford. I'd go with four at the back. I actually not seen the squad, so I can't remember who's in. But who would I have
Yeah,
is
this should be your
I'd
team. It's
usually
fine.
have I'd usually have James. I would have James, but I know he's
Okay.
injured. So but I'm gonna say
Yeah.
no. Actually, I'll take him out. I'll take Kyle Walker. I'll put Kyle Walker there.
Okay. Walker's
I'll
right
put
back.
centre backs as I actually like Tamori, but he won't get there. I don't really want to put John Stones there either, and I don't want to put Maguire there.
Johnny
Who's the centre back?
Stones.
I don't know who the centre backs are. That's
Uh,
my least confident position in the England, and it has been for the last 10 years anyway. Is the centre back
yeah.
position. So I really don't think whoever they've put. Do you know who I do like actually? I tell you who's a really good centre back, Branthwaite for Everton. He is
Yep. Trevor
quality.
Branthwaite.
He's definitely gonna be in that setup very soon. If not from this, well, he won't be from this championship, but he's definitely gonna be in there. So I'm gonna put him as one, and let me put. I like Mark Gahey as well. I don't think he's in the team though, but I'm putting Mark Gahey there as well. So those two,
Okay. Nice. Yeah.
and then
Nice. Youthful.
left back, I'll go with. I'll go with. Again, I'm not sure who we've got. Chilwell. Oh, I suppose Shaw's in. No, I won't go for Shaw. I like Chilwell. Chilwell. Then in the mid, you got to go Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham.
How's your midfield set? So you got a flat back four. How's your midfield set out?
Yeah. I think it's got to be a 4-3-3 with someone in the like the defensive role, which technically will probably have to be Rice, and then Jude on one side, and who am I putting on the other side? Do you know what I might put in there? I might put Trent in there. You know, It was a little cheeky. I might put Trent in there, but let's say if I don't put now, I need to see the team, and I don't know who we got in there. But let's put Rice. Do I put Foden in midfield? I'll put Foden there actually. Yeah. So we've got Rice, Foden, and who did I say before? Said someone else before.
Bellingham. Bellingham.
Bellingham. Bellingham. So yeah, Foden, Rice, Bellingham.
Yeah, it's a
We'll
nice
find a
six,
way
eight,
to
ten.
do it.
Yeah, it's a nice little six,
Yeah,
eight, ten. That Bellingham's your 8, Foden's your 10.
yeah. Be a bit difficult in the tougher games, but yeah, that definitely to get through the groups that should be fine. And then up front,
Your
you've
front
obviously
three.
got to go for Harry Kane.
Uh-huh.
I even though it is my team, yeah, so you've got to go for him, I suppose. Harry Kane, left, I'm going with Saka.
Yep.
Right, I'm going with. I'd probably start with Grealish. I'm trying to think who
Ooh,
else
over
is.
Cole Palmer, Anthony Gordon.
Oh, for sure over Cole Palmer. Like, don't get me wrong, Cole Palmer's done okay, but he's not in the England, not yet. Like he can come on for a few games. He can play game free, and he can come on. Last 20 minutes. But I don't think he's ready for that yet. Even though he's been absolutely amazing and he deserved young player of the season. Nah, not for me, not yet.
Okay. Interesting. No, Kobe Maino either in your team.
No, again, he could. If my midfield three is Rice, Bellingham, and Rice, Bellingham, Foden, I don't think he's better than. Not that he's not better than any of the three, but I think those three will work really well. And who would I take out? The only thing you could say to take that out is take Foden out or push Foden up onto the right, and then put Kobe Mano in the six, and put then Rice in the eight maybe. But I won't. But then there's no Saka, and Saka's my boy, so he's got to be in the team.
Just oh boy. Well, that's an interesting team. He sent you back to England. I mean, I'm just going to leave on to the next part very well. Are you upset you didn't get a call up? I heard you scored the goal for the two at Yorkshire. How was that experience?
The experience, it was amazing. Adam put on an amazing show. To have something like that in the hobby was refreshing. It was so good. Really enjoyed it. Um, I'm more gutted about the chance that I missed rather than the goal that I scored 100%. Like it's still the miss is replaying in my mind, and the goal is a bit more of a blur. But also a shout out to Harry and Jack, who commentary was absolutely on point. I watched a bit of the game back last week, couple of weeks ago, and I thought they were phenomenal. So shout out to them. Shout out to the Blues. We should have won that game. We were definitely better than the home team for sure. And and we got. I think we should have had a goal allowed. Referee flagged offside when it was actually onside. But anyway, not bitter at all. But yeah, it was good, and hope to see more of that in the hobby for sure.
Okay, so that's interesting because I don't say I come with a stick. People will message saying I was wrong or an idiot because I was saying just before it that I didn't say I didn't agree with it. I was just saying that for myself when I go to a card show, I know sort of how I'll say physically demanding, like I'm going to run a marathon, but sort of is sort of draining. Like obviously when you do London for a weekend, like that Sunday on the train back, I'm done out. I just want to
Yeah,
relax. I don't people talking to you about anything on this journey back. I don't know who you are. Leave me alone. And then to have a card show into a football match, then a full 90 minutes by the way. It's not like it's 5 aside. Where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, it's
yeah,
fine. 10 minutes. It's 90 minutes you guys played.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah,
I,
yeah,
I'm not an athlete like this. I'm not an athlete like
yeah,
this. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Jesus. And then
yeah,
to go into a trade night, I was like, I just not want to go kart for. I would just be like, I wouldn't be able to focus. I,
yeah,
I would
yeah,
I would be done out. I was like, that's all I was saying. And people jumped to me a little bit saying, no, this is a good thing. It's for charity. Like, it's like, it's fine. I'm not
yeah.
dissing. I'm saying this guy's an idiot for doing it. I'm just saying for myself, I don't go to a car show because it's got a football game there. I go to a car show to try and find something I'm never going to see in my life, pick up something I
Yeah,
maybe have to make money on it and sustain my life, and also try and stuff I like to collect. I don't then want to have the whole I need to eat this time to be in my prime position, to play football for 90 minutes, and then focus on a trade night. I want to go sleep, homeboy. You know what I mean? So I'm glad it went well. Again, I've said I'm open to play it.
Yeah.
It's just, I would just do things differently myself. I don't know if I could focus on a card show 10 till 4, then game at 6. I would,
Yeah. Well,
Jesus Christ.
I think, like, don't get me wrong. I could not walk for like 5 days. Like, I could absolutely not walk for 5 days. So if we ever did it Sunday, like, it would have to be on the Sunday because I could move the next day. But what I would say with it was the along with probably one of the first London card shows where it was just this huge community vibe. That was the vibe of it, right? It was this
Yeah,
experience where everyone got together, where there was people on opposite sides who notoriously or no maybe not known for getting along. Everyone got on. Everyone put the differences aside just to have a good day out there. The community was thriving. It was the best time, and we hear so much about the negative side and how people are arguing with each other about why this is not gone right or why that's not gone right. To just have a day just to enjoy, as I said before, my two loves, the hobby and football. So to be able to combine them two, to have this day, and again, it's always a choice. You didn't have to go to the game. You didn't have to sit in the stands. The trade night was still going on, from 4:30 anyway. And I just thought to be able to combine something where it brought so much more joy than it usually does to the hobbies. No one was
yeah.
complaining after it, and we know the people who in this hobby
Apart from not being able
love
to
to
walk.
pardon.
Apart from not
And I
being able
would
to
do
walk.
it again. And you know the thing is, to compare, like I said, that was probably one of the most enjoyable times I've had in the hobby in the last couple of
Wow.
years, for sure. Not even close. Just again, the camaraderie, the being able to combine the football and the banter, the being able to just enjoy something that doesn't regularly happen. And again, it's not something that I do every week, but to have it once, max twice a year of doing something like that, it might not be football, it might be something else, I would be
Yeah.
absolutely game for. Because we have too many shows that are too similar in what they do. So to branch out and do something just a little bit different to what we've had in the UK in the past 3-4 years, I'm always welcome to something new, to someone trying something a little bit different.
Yeah. Again, for charity, so I presume they raise a lot of money for a good cause, which is always great. It's interesting because there's been talks of was it go karting at Sandown because they got go karts out there, but it never seems to materialise. I said this about CardCon, they're in an air hangar, and for the first one, they only used like a quarter, if that. You know what I mean? They used a very minimal amount. And I was like, you could have literally put up some court, like a little basketball hoop and had a little, 3-on-3, and the winner got this. You could have put some, consoles and had kids playing consoles, and the winner, the FIFA tournament gets a football thing. So it's good to hear that that it went well. Most importantly, do you think maybe it would have been better? I don't want to say better, but it would have been a different experience if it'd been 5-a-side. So like 12-minute games, whatever, you play 5-a-side, more people could have got involved, more teams could get involved. Or do you think it was right, 11-a-side, full 90 minutes, and that was fine?
I think both things can be true. Like, I think I would have enjoyed. I enjoyed the 11 side because I've not done 11 side for decades. Like, it's been so long since I did an 11-side game. I had to buy
Yeah.
boots. Like, it's been so long since I played on a pitch. To then play in, a professional, would it have taken away? Basically, would it have taken away from the experience if we were just going to goals? Or going to a soccer dome and just playing 5-a-side with the way everyone plays 5-a-side, rather than
Yeah.
going to League One Championship team, playing on the pitch, being in the dressing rooms. I don't think it would be the same experience, no. But I would have still enjoyed it, and I still think it would be good. But again, imagine it goes to the next level, and you're able to play Old Trafford. Playing Old Trafford is different to playing at goals. So yeah, I think there's
Mm,
levels to it.
maybe it's Etihad, yeah. Gee, Old Trafford. The whole thing's collapsing. Do you know what I mean? You can't fix it. Might as well put scuba gear on. Jeez, you water
Yeah,
polo you're playing there.
But
Jesus, Old
um,
Trafford.
so yeah, so I think there's levels to it, and I think the level that was achieved on that day was the maximum that could have probably been exuded at that time in terms of just the whole the whole show. So I think yeah, I think it was the best the way he's done it. Like I said, it'd be different if it was every week or
Yeah,
even once a month. It'd be completely different. And my opinion would probably change after two or three. But for it being the premier time that someone's done that at a proper stadium,
yeah.
hands down, yeah, it was a great experience.
Obviously, there's obviously a stereotype in you that if you collect cards, you're this like overweight person who lives in a mum's basement sort of thing. And when it's 90-minute game, I was like, I wonder if this would have just done half pitches, two half pitches. So you still at the stadium, you still get the whole dressing room experience, two half pitches, try and get more people involved. Because even though it's this sort of perception, it's like a kid's hobby, and you're just old, pervy, old, overweight men. I've been to pretty much every show there is in this country. I've been up and down. That's not my perception of what I see. So I want to try and help that. Obviously, I've currently got Dan. He's doing a training for a marathon as well. Shout out to Dan Sports Coach UK. We talk quite a lot, and I'm obviously offering him advice on training and nutrition because I have a good knowledge in that and so I agree and that sort of stuff. So I want to do more on that side of thing. But I do think it's good that we had this charity match. Again, people got at me for what I said. It's just me. I didn't want to go to that one for that game. It's just how I felt at the time. It's just, if someone said it's a basketball game at the next show, it doesn't make me want to go to a show. I don't go for a show because of the sport of it. Like you said, once a year is fine, twice a year maybe. It's how I feel like if it was to be like come down Yorkshire is it's the sort of it's a game and then we're going to train out later on. I'd be like, oh yeah, sweet. Going down there, I get to play football for 3 hours, get the whole experience, and then there's a trade night. I think in my head, for me, it's like makes a bit more sense. Whereas it's a car show, a game, then trade night, I was just like, that's a long day for when you've got to think about mentally, you've got to switch on what on deals you do. Same time, I have to do some content. I've got to think about this and filming this, and then try and get some food in, then play a game, then do a trade night, then also get home. Yeah, maybe I'm just lazy. Maybe I'm actually lazier than I thought I was. Maybe it's just down to me. Maybe I'm just a lazy guy. Jesus Christ. But I'm glad it went well. There was a bit of I don't say FOMO, but obviously you're always like, because I got a 5-side tournament. I was offered the opportunity to go to the Kent card show this weekend with my good boys third down. Unfortunately, to have a tournament, so I did say, listen, I'm gonna obviously ball out because I always do. It's what I do. I've got to believe in yourself.
There you go.
It's gonna be a highlight. Yeah, it's gonna be a highlight reel. I'm gonna post it around. Don't you worry. Monday morning. When I'm gonna sit back, watch the tape like every good player does. Ice on the sore parts, sit back, watch the tape, dissect what I did well and what I didn't do well, and then I'm gonna cut that up, edit it real good, and then post it around and just let people know. Listen, anyone want to scout me, but call me agent up because you're gonna see a mix of the defense wise. I'm gonna defend a bit like Cannavaro, Maldini, like it's unbelievable. Midfield, sure. Like a Iniesta, like a Zidane. Just a pizzazz that make you fall in love with football. And up front, it's going to be like R9, step overs. Not the knee's going to go like this. You don't know what's going on. Yeah. It's going to be immense. So just watch out for that. That's going to happen. You're going to see amazing, short, very short highlight reel.
Can't wait.
30 seconds, maybe. Yeah, maybe seconds out. But I'm definitely probably should be walking onto the pitch and walking off, and my knee. I'm done now. I'm too old. I'm done. But yeah, so I would so maybe next year I will be more inclined to come in and maybe I'll just focus a bit more and maybe I won't be as lazy as first. But it'd be cool to get involved in it. It seemed like a good time. Like you said, I hope more card shows do something like this, whether it is even a tennis tournament. For God's sake, paddles kicking off quite big as a sport. I know a few more paddle courts are opening up. 5-a-side, go karting, basketball. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I'm anything for doing something different, anything for getting more people involved, anything for the growth of the I'm just for it all. And again, push the ball out. It's now opened the door for something else to happen. And I think that's always the key. There's always going to be that one person that's going to start something, and then other people are now going to get ideas from that. Now going to try something else, and again, cream rises to the top. The good things will work. The bad things will soon filter out over time. So yeah, I'm all for anything. Especially like I said, the more it gets people active as well. So that's always good.
Serious. it seemed to be a good mix. Well, it was like obviously people I knew from the sports card, people I knew from like the Pokemon side of things, also the MGC,
Yeah,
the grading club,
yeah.
obviously the grading club. Sorry, there was Third Down, so it was like a full mix of everyone that's encompassed in the hobby that you're going to see. It, like you said, it shows, which was good to see because yeah, I think sometimes you could sort of think, oh, it's football. It just focuses on X amount of people that not only that collect soccer but also play it. And all of a sudden it's like, oh no, because these Pokemon people got involved. They said the businesses that just grade cards got involved. The middlemen
Mhm,
people got involved. The people who make stands got involved.
mhm,
I think Chris is a cricket guy.
mhm.
So it was good to see that people just got involved and just embraced the whole concept of it all really, which was nice.
Yeah, no, it was, and like I said, more for it. Everyone seemed to have fun. Looking forward to the next time if it happens again. The next time it happens again, I will definitely be more prepared. Because yes, again, not walking for 5 days wasn't ideal, but nonetheless, it was fun.
I appreciate that. Well, I feel like I've took so much time with you, so we're gonna end it here. I'd love to have you back on. Just all things
But
grading club progression, and also airing progression as well. But no, I had to sort of. Oh, I want to now give you your roses, man. While you're here, I want to thank you for everything you've done for the hobby and everything you continue to do. And long may it continue.
no, thank you, man, and shout out to you as well. Like I was reflecting the other day, with someone I can't remember who it was, and just talking about like there's there's a certain amount of people, few, there's only few people from 2020 that have stayed in the hobby and stayed at the same type of level or tried to go to the next level in the hobby. And you know, as I've said, it's changed. This hobby's changed a lot in the last 4 years. Last 4 or 5 years, it's changed a hell of a lot. So to
Yeah.
still be relevant, for you to still doing content, for you to still be engaging and putting out stuff like this, like shout out to you as well, like Dan as well, Dan Keen. Like shout out to people who are creating these content, top load of podcasts who've been doing it now, a couple of years now. Like
Yes.
we've got to, yeah, like you said, we've got to celebrate these people who have been doing it for the beginning and continue to do it. Like it's not just even the people who haven't got businesses. It's still time. It's still money that you still got to spend and not get and potentially not get anything back. Just do it for the love, or do it because hopefully you want to do it as a career, going forward. But again, a lot of us have been in this 4 years now, and purely the people who've been in it that long are doing it because they love doing what they do. So shout out to anyone who's been in here from 2020, 2021, who just been consistently grinding for years. And hopefully, you get everything that's due to you.
Oh, well said. Yeah, I think what a great to end it. What a great to end it. But yeah, I think that is well said. I don't want to ruin your great moment there, but no, definitely get you on soon because I've enjoyed this thoroughly, and I think it's been very informative, especially on the grading side of things, because it's such a big part of this hobby, whether you're collecting or investing. So I want to thank you for your time and your effort in this. And yeah, guys, everyone, I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you're checking out the Grading Club on their socials. I will put a link in the bio, in the description, sorry, to their website. So make sure even if you're just thinking about grading, just check out the process. There's questions on there for you to look through and answer to yourself, and then just get in touch and they will help you by any way they can. But no, see you guys next time, episode 52. Unbelievable. Peace out.
Awesome. Later.